Hi, my name's Daz. I'm the producer of The Drift, and it's been a little while since the last Drift diary. Why? Because we've been very, very busy. In September, we announced the premiere of The Drift is going to be on December the 6th. And whilst that's all very, very exciting, yes it is, very excited, the film isn't quite finished yet. So there'll be a pressure now to make sure that it's all done. However, we're in a very, very good position, and to be honest, we could push the film out tomorrow if we really had to. So what does that mean? Well, that means that whilst we could push the film out tomorrow, we've now got about 3 or 4 weeks to really polish it and give it that final look and feel, that final sound mix and stuff like that. So, and speaking of sound mix, the score is now finished, so big thanks to James. And I'll be going up to his studio in a couple of weeks or so just to process that final mix. Again, we could do it tomorrow, we could play it tomorrow, it would sound cool, but we have the luxury, as it were, or rather we've made the time to go and mix it properly. And it's the same with the sound effects. That's what I'm doing at the moment. As we've been watching the film lots and lots of times, I've been writing lists of new sound effects or bits that are missing. Bear in mind that pretty much every sound you hear in The Drift is going to be a sound effect, whether it's Foley or a sourced sound effect or something I've captured somewhere else and put into the movie. And that's largely, for example, because the sets were made of wood, which doesn't sound very good in space. You want metal noises and stuff like that. So, and space helmets are plastic and they sound like metal. So that's already been done, most of it, but there are some bits that I didn't quite get to do, or something distracted me. And also on the visual effects side, now that all the visual effects shots are done, yay! Now that they're done, it's a case of going back to those shots as well and making sure that they're those sound effects there that work better. In fact, it's the the visual effects that are in now that's allowed us to get to pitch lock, which is bizarre because typically pitch lock is like miles before this time, out there in the real world. But because it's been a continuing evolutionary process with not very many people, that's made it very, well, pretty much impossible. So that's all done as well, which made James very happy, who did the score, so that's why we're able to finish that off so quickly as well. Grading, we've also done some grading now, big thanks to Matt on that one, who spent 2 weeks going over the grade. Very complex on the grade because unlike the film that he's just finished, which was shot on a single camera in relatively simple lighting setups, in an office or outside or whatever, The Drift is just a nightmare. It was for the most part badly lit because we didn't have enough lights. Still made the film, so we didn't have enough lights, so we were getting right down to him even having torches and stuff and faces and stuff like that to make it work. So shooting on several different cameras also made it complex, from the Sony documentary camera to a couple of DSLRs. And sometimes they weren't shot flat as well, which has made things a little bit difficult on the grade. So inside The Drift, for example, it's going to be a little bit dirty. But actually, to be honest, it adds to the effect. And I watched some bits of Battlestar Galactica, the rebooted version from 2003, and it's actually very similar to that. So that's kind of my excuse. Oh yeah, we're totally going for the Battlestar Galactica look. Yeah, totally going for that look. So, but having said all that, it still looks absolutely awesome, so don't worry. And also now we've got that time to sort of go back and see those little troublesome areas, the ones that are particularly not working at the moment. We'll see what we can do. We've even taken some shots out of the edit and put some different shots in instead, which aren't perhaps as good in terms of angle or framing, but for that look and feel and to make sure that we don't have too much grain, we put those in as well. So that's doing good. So the visual effects are now done, so big thanks to the guys on that one, to John and Mike in particular, who have been there right to the end. In fact, they're still going. I've actually created what's called a last list. I just make these phrases up, but I'm calling it a last list. But the idea of that is that I've gone through the film, and there are still some little niggles that, if we had time, could we fix? And it's typically things like a bit of chroma keying still a little bit messy, or when you mask a character, you can see a bit of noise or grain on them, and it's not been masked very well. So it's just going back and sorting those out. A couple of artistic-y type shots I've also asked them to change slightly, because now, in terms of the storytelling, it needs a bit more drama, or needs to be a little bit more clear. So I've got this last list, which is about 50 shots. Most of them are just touch-ups and changes. and they've got about a week to do those, and then they'll go in, and that really should, and also all the grade settings that were on the previous edit, we can transfer onto those new ones. So when we replace one shot with another shot, we just put the grade up into that setting, so that all matches still, which is really good. And the last, not so much it's the last thing, I don't think it would be a last thing, but another thing, which kind of feels like the last thing at the moment, is we've also done a little bit of more ADR, recording some of the actors' voices. We did a couple of pre-screenings with a few sort of, a very small audience to look at the film, and there are a few parts of the movie that were still not very clear. And I don't want to give anything away at this stage, but just basically there were some parts of the movie that didn't either make sense or was confusing. It was still entertaining, but we didn't really drive the point home. So we've had to add some dialogue, some cabbage lines, which Sue has cleverly rewritten and put into the dialogue that's already there. And the good thing about it is that the majority of the ADR is happening whilst the crew are talking on radios, because it's set in space, they've got spacesuits on, stuff like that. So a lot of the time you can't see them talking, you just hear it on the radio. So that's a great way of getting ADR in without it affecting the dialogue and the sound too much, because ADR is always very difficult to mix into live dialogue. Might be perhaps why filmers often ADR entire movies and stuff, but we can't do that. It's just too much time, and most of the dialogue is fine. Well, it's all fine. Also, that wasn't fine. We've redone. So it was a great opportunity to go back and add a few little bits in there, a little bit of improv as well, just to add a bit of character. And it was very nice because I was actually meeting the guys on Skype and what have you, talking to them, catching up with what they've been up to and what have you, and all doing great things. And then we'd do the dialogue, and they would deliver the dialogue as a character, and then I would play it back and listen to it. It's like, oh my god, the character's back, he's back. It's just really interesting to hear it. Saying new things that I'm so used to them saying the same stuff all the time because I'm doing the whole edit, that to have them say something else is like actually quite new. It's like a bonus feature or something. So that was nice. It sort of took me back into the drift, like another adventure or something. So that was really cool. On the premiere side of things, what I'm kind of focusing on at the moment is, when I say is getting the film finished, is getting the film polished now. It is finished, it's getting it polished now. So to that end, whilst I've booked the premiere location, and I've also booked it for a couple of weeks before as well, just to test the screen and all that kind of thing, I'm not really going to get into getting all that premiere stuff ready yet. I want to have a film done. I've got lots of ideas about what to do at the premiere to try and make it a special occasion for those for the cast and crew and invited guests that are coming. It's a special night because the film isn't going to come out on YouTube anytime soon either. We're looking to see what else we can do with the film. The aim is to raise money for charity as well as other stuff, and the best way of doing that obviously is to sell it. So looking at ways of we can do that, whether it's online streaming, or download, or straight to DVD, or trying to get it on TV somehow. I don't know, possibly, no idea. So that might be something that happen perhaps in January 2015. Of course, all the cast and crew will get a copy of a screener copy of the movie anyway, which they can show their friends, and then hopefully they'll get a super duper copy and all the rest of it once the film's out, and hopefully all their friends will too. Raise money for charity and good causes. So yeah, it's been a busy old time. The film now, for the most part, has come back to me, which notwithstanding the bits that I've just described, the last list and a little bit of sound mixing, everything else now has come back to me. The next 3 or 4 weeks now, it's all down to me, and that's not a case of oh my god. It's actually yay, because as much as this film can only be made with all the people that have been involved, with a massive team effort of volunteers. At the same time, that's quite tiring on me, to manage a lot of people in a lot of different places. So it's nice as the creator of the Drift, as the story writer, as having invented this dark wave universe, this Starlight universe, to have the film come back to me, as it were, and I can just sit down and go through it and just make the changes, knowing that it's going to be done on time, so that stress has gone. And I can just craft those last little bits to make it as special as I can. So I'm looking forward to that over the next sort of few weeks. Of course, I'm busy with work and stuff as well, so I've got to balance that too. But all in all, it's a good time, a really good time, and I'm really excited now. The film is as good as done, and it means that in 4 or 5 weeks' time, when I put it on at the premiere, that hopefully people will really enjoy it. So there we are. That's it, really. I'm going to crack back on with my sound effects and make the movie awesomer. as awesomist, as good as I can, and then go from there.